Thank you so much, Mia. I talked for a little while there, but I said, good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. And thank you for telling me. I have a little button that only is indicated by this red light, but it's on the side. So that's why you see me sometimes going like that. I'm seeing if you can hear me. So I didn't do that this time. Anyhow, thank you so much. I hope that you stuck around. Um, anyway, I normally have a guest on Fridays on this day, and though I've been filling up some of my slots for October, I hadn't actually done it. And so when it came along to, like, I think it was on Wednesday, I got the incoming message that I just needed to go live because I needed to engage with the audience more because there's a lot of energy happening right now. And I love the way you say button. What did I say? Button. I don't know. Yeah, I have kind of a funny accent. I've lived in a lot of different places in the U.S., and so I have kind of a conglomerate accent. um, anyway, it's good to see everybody. I'm glad you all stuck around. Okay, so there's a lot of energy that happened and about. Oh goodness, I can't even remember. That's where I was at when I saw Mia's comment saying that there was no sound. Um, a huge spike in the KP index. I don't know if you follow it at all, but that's a measurement of the energy. Like, it's a geomagnetic storm when it gets to a 5 or greater, right? Well, we spiked up to 7 a couple of times in a 24-hour period, and that just finished up like yesterday at evening or so. and and we've also been having some pretty a lot of people are reporting, those who have history of and don't at the same time are noticing this increase in anxious anxiety kind of stuff. A lot of people have been reaching out to me. Stuff is going crazy in their personal life, where those around them that are, maybe not so aware, like a lot of the things we talk about, they might feel a little bit confused or something. This particular group are seeming to be more a flutter, like flustered, and along with that, we're also sensing, we know on some level, there's some deep part of us, it's like it's go time. And we're not exactly, all of us aren't exactly sure what that means. It just, we're here now, we're in it. And as we're in it, in this excited place, we're also feeling the excited energy of spirit, while at the same time feeling the disruptive emotional releasing that's happening globally. And so many of us are noticing the feeling of, like, not just anxiety that seems to be coming from outside of us somehow, but as well as, like, uh, eruption of outburst emotions, where just momentarily even, um, having it where, you know we're don't even know why, but we're just bawling, or we just suddenly feels, we're also getting the really euphoric ones too, though most people don't really stop and think, I wonder why I'm feeling happy. We just enjoy it when it's there, right? And so we don't always see it. And so I'm here to point it out to you. Notice those too, if you would, because it does make these other ones feel a little bit less intense, because we're having these irritation, these, even I've heard people talk about, I've never been an angry person, and I just have this rage, just, and then it's gone. It's just like an eruption. And we're noticing there's eruptions all over the planet. And Tara, she's got all these eruptions with volcanoes. We just had a bunch of really intense earthquakes again. The Philippines, I think, I might be mistaken for the place. I thought it was the Philippines who had a 6 point something or greater, two of them. And, that's just one example. There was also the one off the coast of Oregon recently, right in the area of the Three Sisters. A lot of stuff, a lot of energy erupting, and so is emotion. Emotion, energy in motion. It's not meant to stick around, and so just remembering that. There's also a lot of triggers, right? These individuals who their role in our lives are often to do just what we do for them, and that's to trigger us. Now, we're not doing it on purpose. So there's a button, I'm going to push it kind of thing. However, there's these natural triggering things that are coming up. They can be and are also called activations. So it's the same thing. It sometimes doesn't feel that great, so we don't want to call it something that's such an awesome word, I guess. Thirst, incredible unquenchable thirst, weird appetite stuff going on, fluctuations in our appetite. Your body feels hungry, but you just don't really feel like it, for whatever reason. Nothing really seems to sound all that great. As well as like constant downloads coming in right now. Like that's where I've been this week. I've really not been connecting with people the way I normally do. I've just been in such a download mode, very tired, profoundly tired. Also, this jittery kind of bubbly sensation in the body is getting kind of annoying. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about with that, but just like I'm noticing like a vibration, bubbly, kind of popping energy. It's just kind of uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to fall asleep. And speaking of, the dreams are intense, y'all. It's been getting so crazy, like the kind of dreams that we're having, as well as the remarkable precision in recollection, remembering your dreams, lucid dreaming, and those types of things, as well as the hard stuff, because I wanted to talk about that having to do with sleep, being that I notice it throughout the day on and off, but that it's when I'm trying to fall asleep, that little fluttering that's happening, it can be very, very frustrating. The ringing in the ears have come back in a way that, not that they really left, but it's changed, and it's getting really, it's increasing. And the clairs of all kinds are just coming in, becoming hyper aware of energy around you in ways that you never had before. Connections, seeing orbs of light, seeing faces, seeing silhouettes, seeing actual people, that aren't technically there in a way that anyone else could validate for you. Weird, interesting kinds of things like this. One of the most common ones that people will notice at the beginning when they're starting to have communication from the other side. This isn't the only one, and sometimes this doesn't happen right away, but often it'll be the aromas. There's a scent associated with an individual, like their calling card, like that's what they smelled like, or like, so it's really most easy when someone's smoked. So like you'll smell cigarette smoke and you're just like, what's that? Or a little brother could smell like burning plastic because of the game consoles, and things like that. So you start to smell someone, and then it's kind of like that's when you can decide whether or not you're going to interact with them, kind of like caller ID, and then you can decide whether or not you're going to pick up the phone. So I'm going to come to the comments here. I'm see that everybody was telling me that there wasn't any sound. Thank you so much for telling me. I had the mute button on. Hi everyone, good to see you, Vega Vixen. Vanya says, hi everyone, nice surprise to be here today. Thank you, Mila. What is the vibe going round cosmically? Man, it's all in the awakening, baby. It's crazy. I hope that wasn't taken uncomfortably when I use that phrase, sweetie. I'm a mother. Anyway, so much is coming in, and along with all of us awakening, there's this correlating thing going on in the undertone of the all. Speaking of cosmic, we have 3 big boy comments out there. Everybody's been talking about Atlas, which of course is incredibly important, and I'm very in tune with this. I'm really enjoying my communication with who are connected on this not a comet, called Atlas. It's been really fun to watch. Did you guys hear that it just before it changed trajectory, right? And it was going to hit Mars, and everybody's like, oh no. And then just as it approached, those 2 of the many comets that came off of it, the little comets, some people are calling them probes or something. They 2 of them blew up. And when they blew up, what they did is they actually pushed Mars over a little bit. So Mars was, for the way that planets supposedly are in our solar system, and that they're fixed in a way that they are and stuff, having it pushed off trajectory or pushed off its orbit a little bit the way it was pretty profound. And that just happened a couple of days, 3 or 4 days ago. Oh goodness, I don't even remember. It just was fascinating because when that happened, then all of a sudden all this other energy started coming from Atlas. And so you can connect with it in a meditative state, and you'll find some interesting things going on. But there's also 2 other comets. Before I move on, I want to mention these 2 because we also have the Swan comet, which everybody seems to be like talking about a little bit more, which is good. I'm glad, because this one is a key cosmic eruption, came energy-wise, came off of those 2 exploding, let's call it nova explosions, those 2 exploding comets. It it actually, when it crossed over to the Swan comet, which is huge in contrast to Alice, it clipped off its tail, and a lot of the energy came toward us, and so we're still feeling it now. And I think a lot of the KP and everything that's been going on was at least connected, if not caused, at least connected to this fascinating stuff. But then we also have Lemon, the comet Lemon, Lemmen. I'm pretty sure is how you spell that one. And this one's also moving into its position. What's really fascinating about this is all 3 of these comets are kind of hanging out in the same, are going to be hanging out in the same basic area from our perspective at the same time, or near the same time throughout this later window of October. And so just in the next couple of days, we're going to notice some more stuff going on with that, because there's definitely others that are like, I don't know, driving around them, or maybe they're little vessels that are coming off of them and kind of doing their thing. So, but here's the thing to take away from it. This is what I take away from it anyway, is that the closer that these whatever you want to call them are getting to us, the more we're able to access these higher dimensional frequencies. And as we're able to access them more, we're being encouraged to tell others to meditate more, not for any other purpose, but to bring balance for yourself. While you do that, when you're more balanced, you're able to connect with them and then receive. Instead of, it feels like we're kind of in a resistance. A resistance, like if you're trying to spray a hose, water hose through a screen, like the mesh covering on windows. And there's still, water's going to go out, but there's going to be some kind of resistance. And as this resistance happens, some of the water sloughs around and splashes or whatever, right? But they're just showing that, it helps a lot when we're not resisting the energy that we already have in us. Because remember, this is that junk DNA they've been telling us about. Remember all those years they said that 90 to 95% of our DNA was junk? I'm wow. And I never believed that. I remember being like, what do you think we are, a platypus? God's like, I got all these extra parts. I guess I can put it in there. No. Anyway, surprise, surprise. Now everyone is accepting science and stuff that are that part, those things they counted as junk was just stuff that was in dormancy. We have dormant DNA, and that's what an ascension symptom is. An ascension symptom is when our DNA, our dormant DNA, starts to wake up. And as it's waking up, we have a gradual access of it, and these aspects of our DNA are largely spiritual, is what we would normally have called them. If you go back 20 years and think about what the kind of things that you do and not even think that they're spiritual now, we would have called them spiritual. We've slowly evolved over time. And as we've done this, we're having more and more turning on. And still, many of those things that first initiated, even as early as decades ago, are still coming into this gradual turning on phase. And so as a result, we have a profound change in mind and body, not always overnight, though. That's where I feel like the media or whoever it is that makes those stories typically falls short, is that they tell these stories of like profound. Wow. Just, you're a completely different person after a single moment, like, it's Dr. Strange kind of thing after he gets to the monastery. Well, often it's not like that. It's usually we have several phases of awakening, where we may have looked at certain moments as deeply profound, but we can see there's been a gradual incline, I was going to say inclination, into that part, that way of understanding. And so that's what we're doing now. And a lot of the stuff that we're noticing is connected directly with the areas of our body that in that chakra, we have something that's blocking that chakra. Right? So if we consider what blocks each chakra, you'll notice that's actually why we're having so many headaches, by the way. For those of you who understand what I'm talking about, or at least pressure in the head, I'm not really having, I wouldn't call what I've been having as headaches. It's just like a dull ache or pressure on and off. And that's what blocks, or that's the sensation of what's happening here in the crown chakra. We have the crown and the third eye for a lot of things right now, and the earthly attachments is what blocks us from our crown chakra, right? So we're releasing all of this, like what it means to be in the world that we're in, and all kinds of stuff like that. But what's more common right now, people talking about this lower digestive stuff, and we're noticing most of these chakras. So the fear that blocks and insecurity, belief in lack, those kinds of things, that's what blocks the root chakra, right? And the sacral is shame. The sacral chakra is like right below your belly button. And so there's like all the stuff that makes you feel like you can't be you, and that just feel like you need to hide those things. Our inner child lives in the sacral chakra. I never put that together and realized why without the block was that, right? But Spirit had told me, and I seen it. I could hear when I do group things, and when I do sessions, I'll tune into people's chakras, and I hear voices of children in people's sacral chakras. It's crazy. I know. It sounds crazy, but that's where we store the inner child that we've like shed off, shed off, like edited off, in order to accommodate those around us, to assimilate, to blend in, things that we're ashamed of or don't feel like that are worthy of us. We don't want to be like that. Some people will call it your shadow aspects, your shadow self, and we will do shadow work in order to address these things. Not addressing the inner child and the sacral chakra is usually results, or often results in a dark night of the soul. When you're in a dark night of the soul, the best thing to do is shadow work. And you can find free meditations like that everywhere. It's really cool on YouTube too. Vanya, KP index was off the charts. I know, is really super crazy. It was so crazy. Hi, Milan, everyone. Nice to see you all live. The energy is cray. That's right, Lyra. It so is. Jess, poop shape. I don't. It's so funny on this end because I use Restream. It doesn't show me your emojis, and so face fuchsia poop shape. I wonder what that. Hello, everyone. Blessings from New York City. Hugo, welcome. Good to see you. Shaman was at a blackout after spiking to the max. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was crazy. The human resonance blacked out after hitting the max. I saw that too. I was actually looking at that just a little bit ago. I meant to, and I forgot. I meant to take a screenshot so I can be more professional and show you guys like up on the screen instead of holding my phone up there. But here we are. So if you can see, so we're at this point right here where the black starts. Technically, you can't always tell if we're in a blackout or not, because sometimes we'll have big long ones like that. But do you see this part right here above my middle finger? That big, huge energy. And there's some big energy on the other side, just right about a couple of hours ago. Each one of the indices at the bottom, those little teeny dot things, those are numbers. And each one indicates another hour. And that's how you can tell. It's UTC time is how this is. And so you just want to do the math for your local time zone to kind of figure out, like, I think I'm +6 where I'm at or something like that. Yeah, some crazy energy. And we're expecting to have more, actually. A lot of this awesome, hi, April, a lot of this awesome energy that's been coming off from the sun um, was initiated by these comets, and then the explosions, the nova explosions that happened. I'm feeling real floaty. That's something that I'm really noticing. It just feels like I'm sure there's some type of resistance that I'm doing inside of myself, because I feel like I'm trying to be too many places. And there needs to be more of just a release and be okay to be doing what we're doing. I just feel so floaty and non-present. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different kind of sensation of needing to ground. I don't know. That's really a big theme right now. Yes, outburst of rage, says Anameta. Exhausted today, low emotions, difficult to sleep at night. Yeah, dude. I've not been getting able. Sleeping's been so hard. It's been so hard, and and then once you get to sleep, then you're only there for like a short time, because you get woken up abruptly from the interactions that you're having. These nighttime experiences are intense. I'm back on the orange juice again, at least for now, but not nearly like I am with the cranberry juice. It's really funny. Been uh, being a Firefly Gemini here. All right, Deborah. Awesome. Uh, Nothing sounds good with food. Yes, exactly. Like, no appetite. There's just no desire. My body's telling me to eat. My body's saying, hey, I can feel the hunger and I can hear it. My daughter's remarked on this, the sound of it, but I'm just like, I don't know. Yes, it is as you're saying. At least we're not alone dealing with these changes, as you go. Yeah, that's so well put, because that's what we do. That's why we're here, is to let you guys know you're not alone. And there's a lot of other awesome. They call them alternate remedies, but healing. It's kind of tricky how they did it, where they named medication this word, and it sounds similar to medicine, but if you notice, it's not actually the same word. And there's medicine, which is whole health. It's proactive, as well as it addresses the underlying difficulty. And then there's a band-aid, or something to cover up, right? It's like sweeping it under the rug, until eventually you have a big old hill in the middle of your room and you just ignore it, you know. And so we're noticing, like, one of the things we really need right now, along with noticing no need for food, or no desire for food as much anyway. Some people are the other way. So if you're the other way, don't feel bad. You're not doing anything wrong, But on the other side of it is this huge, wow, I just got a big download. Okay, so today's a peak day. I actually forgot. I'm really glad that they brought that up. I guess I'm just steering aside for a second. So I get channeled messages all the time. Anyway, today is the day on the other side, is what they just called it. And so what that means is we've just left the respite window. And this respite was real integration. So a lot of what we're talking about, Ascension Symptom wise, they're telling me, are things that we're just moving to the other side with, having to do with, like, you're done with that part, or at least for now. It's an intensified energy that kind of it's a bloom, and expands, blossoms out in order to release. And then you have that core available, like when you flower blooms, blossoms, then you have what's in the middle, and that's going to bring us to this next phase, which we're in right now. So here comes a different type of energy. So we've been dominated in this energy of divine feminine this past week. And we're shifting now into this divine masculine. Though the divine feminine's not absent, it's just more divine masculine energy. And it's this, reminding you that you're safe, that you're protected, because this is how to resolve this conflict in the root chakra space, is that when you know that you're protected, when you know you're safe, when you know that, amazing energies got your back, then you don't have to be in fear. You don't have to worry or be afraid of finances. Feeling the sensation of lack can be relieved. And this will allow for the opening of the root chakra in whole. And the root chakra, when balanced precisely, actually has more of a pink hue to it than a red. There is something very significant with that because pink is also associated with love. And so that's the message that they wanted me to talk about right then. So um, I can't remember what we were talking about. So we are bliss with community. Agreed. That's right. We are bliss. We are in this um, safe, beautiful community. That's something else really big that's coming in just this past few hours, is just a reminding of how many of us are coming into this awareness, needing, wanting to be able to connect with others, kinfolk, those who also share the same ideals, awarenesses. What is a plural of awareness? Probably just awareness, but I like adding the plural. Octopi is my favorite plural, in case you want to know. Anyhow, um, and so this drive, this desire to connect with more, with others like you, others who are able to, where you don't have to explain yourself. And this isn't an advertisement, though. I'm offering an option here, is that we have a weekly group meeting that we do on Wednesdays. It's free. And we do it after the show airs. It's usually at 5 p.m. Central Time, which would start in about an hour and a half from now. However, if we were doing it today, we're not, but on Wednesdays. And then we also have a free Telegram group. There's a link of that in the description of this video. I bring this up because we are being driven more toward others, but what's happening, it's really funny, is that we're also like pulling away more from the collective. A lot of us are. Right? There are some that I've talked to recently who are having the opposite effect. They're like, I just want to go to these places. I want to go hang out at the mall and go to these fairs and stuff. And it's like, right on. Thank you for doing that, so I don't have to, but it's wherever you're at. A lot of people are feeling this community thing going on. I had a super vivid dream. My deceased husband, so real, I thought he was really here. Well, I'm sure he was, April. I'm sure he was. Those are real. And I hope that you write it down, like, so you can review it, because we often will. And then I meditate on it afterward, after I've written it down and kind of reviewed my notes a bit, because you'll start to get more of it will come back. And not always is it in meditation. Sometimes it's right before I fall asleep. Then I start to recall that, I get back to that same brain wave that I was at, and I'm able to start to get more of it back. I'm happy that you're able to have these connections. We all have this. They hold people up as unique and separate from others, that those who can channel, those who have these different kinds of clairs where you can hear things, feel things, smell things, see things, just know things. And we all have them. We all do. Diamond Heart 888, Charmony, exciting energies, cherry on top. Oh man, it's been really cool. It's been really neat. You commented that back at 111. That was 111 your time. Okay. I feel a little bit better. I was like, man, I'm really behind. Yeah, I'm like 19 minutes behind you. Sore lower back again. Me too. I've been having the back stuff. Though for me, yeah, a little bit of the lower, but mostly for me, it's the upper back and the shoulders. I've been having this thing where my shoulder blades like start to have like slight convulsions, like muscle spasms. It's really weird. Excuse me. See, that's why I just looked aside. I wanted to see if I was unmuted, because I mute myself. There's just a little button on top that I just tap, and it doesn't change anything. Anyway, I've noticed a lot of this has to do with two different things. We have wing activation stuff that's happening. We have energetic wings. I know it sounds crazy, but we really do, and it's really fascinating too. When someone told me, I think it was Elsa, that you can see where the wings were, because that's where the shoulder blade is. That's where it got genetically cut off. And I was like, whoa, I never really thought about that exactly. However, on top of that, we have this purging happening. Remember, we're receiving a lot of our long-term memory from afar, meaning previous incarnations, your soul memory, your personal akashic kind of stuff. We're remembering, and when that happens, it delivers light to the hippocampus. If you touched your nose and went straight to the back, you would be touching your hippocampus. And that amount of light that's expanding there is also pushing out the things that maybe aren't of the light. Doesn't exactly mean that they're bad. They're just, hitchhikers, energies that have clinged on for far too long. And it's time for them to go, because now, who belongs in that seat are returning. And so, not along with this awareness, we're also noticing a purging happening around the third eye, the eyes, even the nasal cavity, a lot of sinus kind of stuff, because what's being purged from the third eye needs to come out. It'll also move down here. So it's really good to do this kind of a thing. I know it feels weird sometimes, but it's really, and on both sides, you got them behind you to your neck too. They're like these little ducts, bile ducts, basically. You're just, moving the stuff down. And also we're having a lot of stuff here at the bottom where there was a lot of energy attached to our brainstem, which is just below the hippocampus. And so that whole area, like at the crooks of the neck, along the whole, I was having it a lot right on the one specific side. Hey, it's 333. And then I literally got a rash that went straight down my spine. All this stuff is like purging out of there. So when you're talking about lower back, I feel like this is really connected. And the more that you talk about it, the more I'm really like, yeah, I'm really noticing. I have been having a lot of like shifting energy down in this like lower back space. Crazy energy. I know, right? It's so crazy. Such difficulty, says Rhonda, sleeping. Either can't fall asleep or wake up on and off all night long. Very, very emotional, crying for no reason. Pressure, bad on crown and third eye area, ear ringing, dizziness. Yep, dude, everything is a yes. Exactly. Thank you for putting it together so concisely. This is exactly what my experience has been as well. I'm noticing some of the tears are very, very brief, and the briefer ones are always because I'm like leaning into it, where I'm like, okay, and this is what's happening, and just let it happen and observe it. I'm kind of like, huh, why am I feeling grief right now? That's interesting. Let's take a sharp stick and poke that. You know what I mean? It's kind of what it feels like, and like the deep, profound grief that moves through me. Like I feel the crying down in my deep belly, how that real deep sob, and then it's gone. It happened so quickly that the tear didn't even make its way down my cheek until it was already over. And this is one of the examples of the instances where I leaned all the way into it. We often will lean away, recoil from an unpleasant emotion. It's a natural thing, I would say. However, when we do that, we stuff it and we don't look at it. We don't observe it and let it move on. It might move through too, So a lot of that kind of stuff for me as well, and we were just got done talking about the crown and the third eye. The crown, also remembering for those who weren't here, the crown having to do with the activation of this crown space, having to do with the need to purge what's blocking that chakra. And that is the earthly attachments. And what that means is the need or the trying to obtain being connected into the energy of like the way the world has been. It's really funny because we don't realize we're doing it. We're all excited about this shift and what's going on. Most of us are like, hooray. And we have to be reminded to keep our arms and legs in the vehicle at all times. However, because we're so into it and excited, but at the same time, wow, I totally lost my, there we go. And I just went to a whole different place. Man, we're getting a lot of incoming energy right now. Anybody who you all channel. I know you do. I'm sure you're all getting stuff that's happening right now too, but it's really, everyone's really excited to be here. Anyway, and even though we're super excited about this awakening and what we're doing, it is also strange that we're still connecting with the 3D in a way that we don't realize that we are. And so we're being reminded to release those parts, to release, to let go of what we think life should be like. So it's just one of those kinds of things. So I'm gonna go on. Deborah says tomorrow Alexander Quinn is putting out one on Atlas, channeled by the Arcturians on Atlas. Oh, cool. The comet she's talking about, Deborah, thank you. She's talking about the comet Atlas. There's 3 comets, and Atlas. It's really interesting that he also knows that they're Arcturian, so that feels a little bit more validated for his messages. I do like Alexander Quinn. I don't typically click anybody anymore, and it's not because I don't like anybody. I've just been in downloads. I don't have a lot of time. I did, though, click into Guardian's meditation earlier today, just a couple of hours ago. If you want to check it out, it was his meditations are brief. They don't take that long. Usually they're around 10 to 20 minutes. I was busy getting ready for this show, so I didn't actually do the meditation part. I couldn't tell you how long it was. But I'm really excited. We were talking a bit about the Hermetic principles before we got started. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to checking that out. The Arcturians are who I connect with when I go to this vessel that they're calling Atlas. It's more like a UN in my experience. I went there. I don't. There's a place between remote viewing and astral projection that I don't know what the word is, and I don't know if there's someone else made a word yet. But that's where I was at when I went there, and it was a spaceship. Atlas was a spaceship, and it was huge. It was freaking ginormous. Like, I know that people are diminishing its size because they're comparing it to the size of the moon and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be like the one that was able to traverse the entire width of the moon, the equator of the moon, in a very short time. It's a big place. Anyway, according to what they say anyway. However, in this vessel, there was many others, but the majority of those who were present were Arcturian, in fact. And I found them to be very gentle and happy and supportive. I said, isn't this like a businessman driving to work on a tricycle? Like, you guys don't need to be in spaceships. And they thought that was really funny. But they showed me the image of a Viking child standing at the bow of the boat, the front of the boat, as they were ready to come ashore, and that child would stand there and wait to be noticed, acknowledged, and invited on shore. This was a custom that was designed to allow for people to decide if they were real or not, basically, right? And they said that they are giving us time to gradually become aware of them. We see them coming. They're coming. Like, remember Monty Python, In Search of the Holy Grail, and those 2 guards are sitting at the wedding, and they see Sir Lancelot or whoever it was running, and then all of a sudden he's running again. They're giving you time to see him coming, so that way you can decide about it and not be freaked out. And then once they're here for a while and we're used to them, they're going to point out that, your butcher is Arcturian or something. You know what I mean? There's others around here that you interact with. So it's really, really fascinating. That's cool that he picked up on that. Hi, Mila, says Patriot Hero. Good to see you. I hope things are going well for you. How are you, Patriot Hero? I've thought about you. Heaviness all of a sudden. The peaks and valleys are getting old. Oh, my goodness. Angeline, you're so right. I'm totally with you on that. It is exhausting. But I can say this, though, is that each one of our valleys is higher than our peaks were last month. It just doesn't feel that way. It's a gradual thing, so we get used to it. So, like, we're going like this. We're still going up. It just, there's these, and it feels so annoying and so profound. You're like, dude, I was like skipping and euphoric, and now I just want to climb into bed and not come out again, you know? And, but I can say the stabilization is coming in a little bit more. This is a really fascinating month, y'all. We got a lot of stuff going down. You know, also Maki Make is in Kazemi with the sun today. You know, I think it's today. It's tomorrow, I believe. I took that page off. I wrote it on the page of my last page of my calendar. Anyway, but yeah, it is right now, and so we're going to be noticing some increased energy that's coming off. We're already having a really active sun. It's already more active, and that can be very exhausting for us. I find that when the Schumann resonance doesn't have big spikes like it did, that I'm lower energy, and so the spikes kind of bring energy in. When we can allow ourselves to kind of harness that, and how to do that is allow yourself to be in the experiences as they pop up, and let the emotions flow through you instead of become you. You know, it's weird, but emotions really are like separate consciousness, separate from you. You know, we're all one, and so we're connected, and that's how we interact with these emotions. But they're not yours. You know, a lot of us will like choose to assign, ownership to ourselves, these emotions, and that isn't always the most harmonious way to interact with them. And we find, in fact, that the emotions are separate from us. And, they could be like little Johnny next door that just won't, go home, sometimes, but it's still little Johnny, and it's not you, and once we understand that, then we don't have to become the emotion as much. And it really does help a lot. What a play, having fun, remembering, watching the wild cosmic show. We are superstars on the entire movie. Grand Rising is happening. Woohoo! Thank you, Diamond Heart 8888. I said that really quickly. Oh, by the way, also, I was thinking of you when I saw this. Today is World Smile Day. Isn't that fun? Today is World Smile Day. I think that's really neat. I got a lot of junk in the trunk. Yeah. Well, we're what are all these emojis you put up here? Okay, a lot of those I can't read. I have to read them. But game over for the old, celebrating. Aho, girlfriend. Aho. Is the 3-eye atlas a ship or a rock? It's a ship. That's what I'm saying. It's a ship. I know people are saying that it's not. Some people are saying that it is. I don't feel like it's going to land here. Like, I don't feel like it's that kind of ship. I think it's like more like bringing tuning the satellite, or like we had the rabbit ear antenna on the TV when we were little, and if you pointed a certain way it would be better, but if you had too far away from the TV it didn't work. And that feels like it's just bringing it closer to the TV, you know what I mean, to help us. And the closer that it gets, the more we're able to connect. And yeah, I do feel like that there are going to be more physical, the way we think of interactions being in the coming days. Though I don't feel like that's going to be this particular calendar year. I do, though, connect with them, and they are individuals. And you can, too. You may actually be noticing that the Arcturians are coming in a lot. And it's not just Arcturians on this ship, too. So if you're noticing others, then you're going to find that, it's coming from that vessel too, likely. There's also 2 others that are interesting things going on out there. The Swan comet is only here every 22,000 years. So this is a pretty big deal, and it's pretty close to a galactic year, which is each galactic year is a phase of awakening or a possibility of ascension, right? So yes. And it's not going to be bad. It's actually pretty good. Hello, everyone. Sending love and light. Good to see you, Don. Mila, is this show replacing the one tomorrow? No, it's not. And the show is on Sunday. Today's Friday. Um, I'm still doing my regular show. This is normally I have a guest, and I just dropped the ball on remembering to fill in the slots of this month so far. It feel it doesn't feel like it's so close to October, let alone being October. You know what I mean? Anyway, and once I realized that, I was told you're supposed to go on. You're just supposed to go on and connect with the audience and help people understand, because the energy we're going to be in is intense. And they're right, because that was back on Wednesday that I realized that. And so today I'm just doing it's kind of a random live, I guess. But it's I just put up my normal link because it's easier. But yeah. Um, my poop chakra is lit. Thank you for the information. Oh, I like that way of saying it. Kinformation. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I'll let you guys talk to each other. Aloha, Don. Good to see you. Time to bring the kid back. Play with our inner child. Yeah, free the kid. Oh, yes. Play, whatever play means to you. You'd be fascinated by how many people I've talked to who never learned how to play. They were, you know, they were, they had to grow up too fast, and it was edited out of them by their parents or whoever. And they never really learned what play is. Play is different for everybody too. But to play right now is whenever you do something spiritually, if you're doing it playfully, it works like so much better. So much better. So, that's a measurement that I can see, and if you allow yourself to do anything in play, that's true. Life is what life is intended to be when you're in play. Even things that you might think that are things that are undesirable, that you don't enjoy doing, we can bring a playful heart to it, and then find that it's actually a much more evolved resonance. Hey, Melissa's 5D Sky Marie. Hey, good to see you. Hey, everyone in the chat. Good day to you all. Good to see you. I just realized how far behind I am. So I'm disconnected and detached. Yeah, I'm feeling some of this, feeling some of this, like, I feel like I'm not in the moment exactly, but I'm in all the moments at the same time. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I have had a feeling across my shoulders of fear and anxiety. Yeah, so I find that the best way to release this, and I know what you're talking about, is to grow the love from in your heart, just what it feels like before you tell somebody that you deeply love, I love you. And that comes up before it comes into words, and so as that comes up, it usually comes up right here. I find it really fascinating that tends to be where it does it. And then as a ball, it just kind of swells and expands and send that love to this, and it will in that moment release it. And so you can do it with each cycle of breath. So inhalation through the nose, expanding. And I find it's easiest if I allow, when I exhale, to visualize this expansion. I think because I played with balloons so much in my life, that just makes it easier for me to visualize and to experience it. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think a lot of people in the audience probably will resonate, especially in this area where this activation stuff is happening and this stuff is leaving. Those things that I was talking about, the Klingons or the hitchhiker energies that have been attached to our brainstem have been responsible with the voice in the back of the mind, the low self-worth talk, the telling you that you can't do something or that you're not good enough, or any of those kinds of words typically come through those energies, and they're being removed. They're purging because the expansion of the hippocampus. And so that's really fascinating to discover it, and it makes a lot of sense too. Hey, Colleen, good to see you. Hey, Mila and everyone, sending love to all. Good to see you. Yeah, it's been really fascinating to observe the back and how much we are like releasing right now. And as a result, it's really good if you can take baths with Epsom salt, notice yourself cleansing yourself in just more intentional ways if you can't take a bath. A lot of times I had when I couldn't bathe, I'll get like a washcloth, damp the washcloth and sprinkle Epsom salt on it and kind of exfoliate that way. That also really helps. There's a lot of stuff that we're needing to purge right now. you know, Yay, we love so much. Yes, it's so good to be in this place of love. I'm um, really far behind, so I'm jumping ahead a bit. I hope that um, Enter the Void, good to see you. Welcome. I got a bad case of the sillies and breathing belly lagu. Oh, la. Oh, belly laughs. Okay, I thought so. That's what I thought you meant. That's awesome. It's good to laugh. It's so good to laugh. Um, okay. Oh wait, stop! I'm crying. Too much poop talk. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of poop talk, which is really funny. I'm just trying to find questions. It's good to see everybody here. I'm so glad to see you all laughing. If you all get a chance and you're watching this on repeat, check out the comments on the live feed. It takes usually like 24 hours before you can see it, I think, but just some funny kind of. Hi, all. Hugs and love all around. Hugs all around. Good to see you, Sky. Lavender Sky Panther. Welcome. The organic energies are expanding between with the synthetic. Oh, I like this. Hectic. Like I was saying about weather, appetite. Yeah, dude, it's really interesting to watch. It requires us what to release so to make room for this other stuff. So we're noticing like this fluctuating weirdness, and it's been good to see you, Andrea. You just spoke of the hippocampus, Mila. I woke up with a headache right there on the back of my head today. Interesting, Enter the Void. Yeah, this hippocampus area is really getting some activations right now. It's really going to be fascinating to watch what happens down the road, too. It started on the 25th of March. At least that's when the download came in. The spirit started to talk to me about this and to show me what would happen and what is happening. And so as this expansion occurs, we'll notice purging. The best ways to purge is to do, intermittent fasting or water fasting for a short time or something like that is one of the best ones you could do. There's other things that we can do, and we do often, like we could do the parasite cleanses, which always are helpful. Dandelion root is one of those things that's just kind of a go-to for all detoxing, as well as remembering wormwood, whole clove, black walnut husk, all of these kinds of things allow for the purging of the things that are just kind of because we are releasing, and I find that sometimes it's not even exactly the tea that I'm drinking. It's because it's the purpose of that tea to begin with, that I'm choosing to go make that tea, and I'm thinking to myself while I'm making it, the intention. I'm considering this is going to assist me. It's going to present healing in some way. And that amplifies it. It's kind of funny, because it's like one of those like chicken, which came first, the chicken or the egg, is kind of a paradox. And what it really comes down to is, are you choosing this, from this thing that you're taking, or you're not? Because if you're not using your intention, you still get the benefits. It's just that you've not opened up all of your consent corridors or lines. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. I might be talking over your head but yeah, some crazy. Oh, Guardian's meditation was powerful today. One of his longer ones. Totally recommend. Hey, well, how long was that, Karen? I actually didn't get a chance to do it yet. I jumped in the comments. I'm looking forward to seeing what it was like. Back right during the solar eclipse of, I believe, 2007, my shoulder blades felt like I pulled a muscle 4 days ago, it came back. Crazy times. Love it. Yeah, that's interesting. I was at that one. Excuse me. I was at that one too. That one we went to Idaho for. I was living in Utah at that time. And yeah, and then we went to the one over, then we were here in Arkansas for the second one. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of things that were, uh, a lot of really powerful activations started for people in 2017. And a lot of people didn't even realize what was happening at that time in their life. Exactly. And now, um, we're finding that we're returning to a lot of the experiences we were having back then at that time, and we are being reminded of them as a result. And the kinds of activations we've been receiving for quite some time are often discounted for, normal bumps and bangs that we do in our normal day or whatever, it could be. And then looking back in retrospect, realizing that we've been on this ascension journey this whole time. And so there does seem to be like some kind of closing of certain things we opened in 2017 right now. So it's really cool you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, shoulder blades are so weird. This muscle, I don't remember it being like that. Doesn't mean I didn't have it, but I noticed my body a lot more than I did before. I notice it on purpose because I want to be aware of it so I can share it, and focusing on something really intensely will amplify a thing, so I'll notice it and then move past it, so I don't have to live in it. Not always is that super effective though. So I'm not always the best at it, I meant to say. That's a good point. They really don't need spaceships, right? It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Is this a game? Is this a game? Like, I think I'm just catching up to some of the, thank you, Ian. Good to see you. I'm glad that everyone is joining here and finding this community, because y'all are awesome. Y'all are so cool, and it just connecting with you is elevating. Connecting with you is balancing in itself. This is the community that we're talking about. The word community means communication and unity. And look at y'all share with each other. It's so beautiful. A lot of ETs here. Yeah, dude. Hey, I'm going to grab this one. 10/22/1966 here, and I already feel the Libra energy is here, balancing. Awesome. Happy birthday early. That's a big deal day. That's a big deal day for sure. A lot of stuff going on that day. Yeah, between the 19th and the 24th, we're going to be having some really fun energy and things happening. There's a lot coming in, a lot to do with these comets, sure, but then also more. We know that at a solar minimum, when comets near the sun, even at solar minimum, it wakes up the sun. And we've been seeing happen the past little while, like you guys, I'm sure have noticed, like, I think it's been a few weeks now, maybe 2 weeks, if that. I can't recall. Time is so, I really am noticing a heightened imparity, difficulty, uh, connecting with time and existing within the time space. And so I couldn't tell you any measurement of time accurately any longer, So, but it's been like that for a couple of weeks or so, that we've been really getting some solar activity. The closer, the more things are interacting with the sun. And so we're going to expect more of that too. Speaking of, by the way, I wanted to mention that this coming full moon is a super moon in Aries, and the fact that Mars just got kind of pulled off of its normal orbit. It's a little bit closer to Earth now than it was before. It really, we're going to notice, if not already, I'm sure a lot of you are already noticing this charge to it kind of energy. But then what I'm finding is I have this charge to it energy when my body doesn't seem to be cooperating. I'm noticing how tired I'm feeling all of the time, but this charge to it energy is keeping me awake. It's, it's something that I don't care for, but it's exciting, you know. I'm starting a new job on Monday after not working for 13 months. It's weird. Ooh, that is weird. Well, good luck to you, Ian. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is weird when you start something after not having done it for some time. I'm excited for you. This will be awesome. Congratulations. Congrats. I like the way that you said that, Jess. Um, the P Factor says a living satellite, three eyes are. Anyone ever read Octavia Butler? Octavia Butler. I don't think so. The name though does sound familiar. So perhaps I have. Interesting. A living satellite, three eyes. Yeah, I like the three eyes thing too. Do you think Swan is also a ship? Comet, come ET, right? Uh, I do think that all of these um, things that are interacting with us are conscious in a way, and being kind of guided in a little bit more than we think that they are, that they're simply gravity bound and stuff like that. But Swan feels like she's the one that comes and turns on the light switch, or maybe even a better example is those old factory cartoons, and they come in, they go over the big switch, and they turn it on, and the factory would jump alive, and so everything would start going. It kind of feels like that's what it is, you know though, yeah, conscious, and so there's somebody steering it. That's all I know. Ophelia keeps popping up. Interesting. 3 years ago, approximately, I had several reoccurring dreams where I regularly visited a spaceship. I need to find a dream journal, but I remember reptile type creatures in cages in different species. Interesting, Amanda. Hey, Amanda, by the way, I've been meaning to ask you, would you like to be on the show this month sometime? I would love to have you on if you felt like it. Just let me know. No big deal. No pressure. And if anyone is here or listening to this on replay, if you are interested in joining me on the show, on Wednesdays and Fridays, I do a show. Friday can potentially be a couple of hours later than Wednesday is, if that's more desirable for your time that you have available for you. Please reach out to me and let me know. There's some fun conversations that's really helpful for a lot of people, as well as for ourselves, to be able to speak our truth, and that's what really it's for. So, and it's really interesting you bring up 3 years ago, because a lot of us were having stuff happen more about that time. The activity really started to pick up. I never connected dreams to Atlas, but who knows? Very interesting. Yeah, like I've been a lot coming up from this particular place, you know, uh, uh, and the fact that there is a conglomerate of individuals, it's like a UN is how I experience it, like a United Nations, many different, like uh, Ship of a Thousand Planets, I think is like, remember the Valerian movie, Ship of a Thousand Planets? Or I feel like I always say that word wrong, but it's a thousand planets together in this like planet, and it feels like that, feeling connected and attached. Yeah, and releasing any of these other like limiting things at the same time is very difficult at first to kind of find that balance. The Arcturian said it's a ship. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. And you go in it. There's a freaking sun inside this ship, guys. They have a sun, and there's a place that's like this big garden, like you're in outside. It's the most crazy thing. And there's this guy making some kind of food, but he has like, I don't know, like 9 legs that and no arms. It was the weirdest thing. He was so fun. I liked that guy. That guy was cool. But he was standing behind a counter, so you didn't have to see, like, so you wouldn't be shocked by him. But he was really funny. I liked him. He had a lot of good wit, and I really enjoyed connecting with him. And a lot of the individuals that were there, I found to be interesting that most of them really did, though. What they weren't the example of the food guy is they look very much like us, maybe a little different. Like their skin looks thinner, so you can see through their skin a little easier, or like their eyes are slightly bigger or farther apart. There were some that their eyes were really close together, like just like this middle part was almost not there. I don't know, just a little bit. You know, their hair was a more white and blonde mix than on this particular group I'm talking about in my mind, thinking about right now. Just, but they were they looked like us, and a lot of them did, you know. So it's not meant to. They're not coming to try to scare us. They just want us to. They want to help. Loving these fantastic new energies, Vanya. Me too. Yeah, dude, it's exciting. It is exciting. I know it doesn't feel that great for some of us, and depending on where you're at in your moment, you know, it depends on when you talk to me. I could talk about how fantastic it feels, and then, you know, the drop of the hat, I'm saying, you know, I just want to go to bed. You know, like it's really just whatever you're feeling right then is this. We're doing this. We're increasing our frequency with valleys. And so we're dipping back down. It's giving us time to regulate and kind of ground the energy, you know, integrate it. She's a character from Hamlet who has a descent into madness, then drowns. Also a cool old hippie song. I do remember Ophelia. I really got into Shakespeare for a while there. Hello, good to see you, Elsa. Elsa, morning, Mila. I've been thinking so much about you. I can't get Facebook to work. How do I talk to you, Elsa? There's some stuff going on in technological things right now. Hi, Mila. I've been experiencing rash on my face and on and off. I've been getting a lot of this kind of rash stuff too. Mine is on the right side of my chest, my shoulder, like right here. And this weird rash coming through. I know that what I've been told by spirit, by my guides and so on, that we're needing to be aware that we're purging through our pores more than usual. And so we're going to have the side effects of that. You're going to notice that your pores are clogged. So you're getting like acne like things going on, you know, even as intense as a boil or you know, like ingrown hair or something like that. We're noticing where we need more mineral salt, not iodized salt or whatever it's called, table salt. No, we're talking about pink Himalayan salt, pink salt, uh, Celtic salt, or gray salt. They have minerals in it that our body requires and that our body purges through the sweat process. It's what is the vehicle that these toxins are being sent out of our body through. And so it helps if you're washing out all the gunk with the river, you want to be sure the river continues to flow steadily, is basically what they're talking about. We are living toroids affected by every frequency, sine wave. Woohoo! Whoa! Yeah, dude. Yeah, and the fact that we're meant to focus more on our toroidal fields has been brought up quite a lot lately. Intentions, ones, ions, 11, 1. You know, it was really interesting. I was thinking about you too when they were the other day on 10-1. So for, you know, 101, everyone was calling that the day of bunnies or the rabbit day for the rabbit hole because it was the Matrix. Isn't that fun? So anyway, I was thinking about you. I was really thirsty. So good to see you, Mila. Good to see you too. Been missing you. 2017. Yep, had no idea. So much coming through from that year. And it's closing up. It's closing up. It's meeting its balance. It's finding it. Yes, love seeing Mila live. Bonus show today. Great. Yeah. So I am still going to go live on Sunday in 2 days. Hey, it's 411. Remember when 411 meant information? You would dial 411 on your phone. They probably still have it. I haven't had a landline in so long that I don't, but it used to dial 411 for information. So whenever I see that, it's like the lowdown, right? Closing from 2017. Wow, wow. Close and close, close in, Atlas. Aho. It's all coming to a completion. It's going like, it's coming, it's good. It's not like, hey, speaking of the ones, I just looked up and we went on for an hour and 10 minutes and 10 seconds a second ago, a few seconds, now a lot of seconds ago. It's fascinating how long it takes to say certain words. And it's not like that when you're channeling, or I mean, when you're having telepathic communication. Um, it just, all of it comes in at the same time. And so there is no missing the beat, you know? I used to not pay attention to my body. Poor thing's been screaming for years. Yeah, Amanda, me too. Me too. It's been crazy how long it took it was like my body was a neglected child coming from an abusive place and having to learn to trust, because I wasn't kind to it for so long. And it took a while for her to kind of communicate with me, you know. Best group here agrees. So healthy. Yeah, dude, y'all are freaking awesome. I love you guys. You guys are so amazing. It's so much fun to like tap in and see, like I'm so honored and just blessed and wowed by you all. The people who are here in these groups are so evolved. I know you don't probably judge yourself that way or see yourself as this, but I see you. You're amazing. And the amount of love that you have, compassion, awareness, and desire to do good is immeasurable in contrast to others that you'll meet on occasion. You know what I mean? I'm so honored. I love when a rando drop is in like now spontaneity is marvelous. I agree. I like it that way. I really do. Yes, actually, to me, 2017 felt more odd than 2020. It was when I started to become aware something was going on. Nobody else did though, so I was the crazy one. That's okay though. Yeah, I remember during the eclipse was the first time that I felt the whole planet at the same time. That was the first time that ever happened. And, I didn't know what I was, but everyone was screaming. Everyone was like, I could feel so many calling out in pain. And it was really alarming at first. The sensation was unsettling anyway. And I had inaccurately deduced that it was because the solar eclipse made people innately go to this place where they, felt unsafe because, the old beliefs or something about the sun being extinguished or something. Then I realized, well, I didn't realize actually, I was told by my guides that this was what everyone feels like all the time if you feel the whole planet. By the way, that's changed. That's improved dramatically. And when you tap in, yeah, there's still a lot of anxiety and yeah, there's still muffled anger words, but for the most part, it's clear waters, with just a little bit of debris floating around in there. The amount of healing you have all done is fan-freaking-tastic. Each one of you, it requires each one of you, so the fact that it's being done, thank you. It's you. I kept losing track of time, so I literally planted it in my garden, and it is teaching me a better time. Body blue, raised arms, awesome. I like that. Time. Hunters, here come the archers to seize. Awesome. Thank you for this code. Thank you, Elsa. Hey, from North Carolina. These are so interesting and intense energies. Yeah, Crystal. We got more to come too. So I don't remember when it was in this show, but I got hit with a download channel that just came through talking about today being a day of completion or something. I have to go back and watch it. I didn't take any notes because it was being recorded. But we're in a place where we're stepping as one. Like the visual they give me, it reminds me of like the those fairs where you like have to do the race. I can't remember what it's called when you like tether another person's ankle to another, and they have to like walk together. Kind of that kind of a walk where we're walking together, maybe not tethered, but we're walking together as one across some type of precipice or threshold today. And the kinds of energies are moving from a more divine feminine into a little bit more pronounced of a divine masculine energy, which is all about this action that we're about to be moving into. The hunter moon. Yeah, the huntress is this Artemis energy. Every time the hunter moon comes up, and this hunter super Aries moon, and Aries this and Artemis, you know what I mean? Like, it's really fascinating how they all go together. It's going to be a very profound day, and I believe that's actually what we're going to be doing alive that day. So that'll be in 2 days from now on Sunday. It's crazy stuff. It's going to be really fun. Amanda, I have gone through a naming ceremony. You meant to talk to somebody else, so excuse me for grabbing it. My job is loving my human. It is enough. Laugh out loud. I am worthy. I am safe. Hold on. That's exactly it. Say it to ourselves regularly, and it becomes easier to see that. Mila, you are awesome, as are you, Deborah. So glad you all are here. Oh, I love that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I try not to grab the ones when you're talking to each other. Yep, interested in a show. Oh, wow, Mila, that would be perfect for my transition. I would love to. I will email today. Thank you. Hooray. I look forward to that. That'd be awesome. Speaking of, actually, I have to wrap this up. I don't want to. I see I have a lot of comments that I haven't read yet. I'm going to grab a couple. Palindrome, Magic Box, love you. Y'all are talking to each other. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I see you. Love you, Mila. I love you. I love you so much. I love all of you. This is so cool. This community is so beautiful, isn't it? It's so cool. I've seen you guys been commenting, talking to each other. Yes, this is such a great group. I am just so honored and blessed to be part. Three-legged race. Where did I see that? There we go. Three-legged race. That's actually what I was looking for, because there felt like there was more symbolism to be heard about that visual. The 3 legs, 3-eye atlas, the threes. There's something there. Thank you, Lavender Sky Panther. You have assisted me. Yeah, planted time. Now you got more, right? Yeah, I do need to wrap this up. But 8th of October, 2025, we had as a complete day, last shadows. It's a niner day. Ooh, that is. Thank you. I'm really glad I clicked that. 99ers brought in after Super Hunter's Moon. Wow, this is really interesting. Biggest hugs, Mila. Thank you, Elsa. Yeah, Artemis has this most amazing name, doesn't she? And Artemis coming in right now, she reminds us that we have a voice, to love ourselves and to set loving boundaries, respecting yourself and others. Where she has the voice that speaks through the silent crowd of silent voices, because the other voices may be too loud. So she speaks for the underdog, and she says, don't. I'm not okay with you interacting, or stepping on my toes or my brother's toes, and this is the energy that we're receiving. And Mars just barely got pushed into different orbits slightly from this stuff that's going on out there, and as this occurred, this was right after we started to really connect with Artemis being associated more with Mars than Aries itself. And Aries is kind of in this limbo place, or this shift into something else. Tries lion, 3 legs, tries lion, trees lion. Interesting. 3 eyes, 3 legs. Yeah, dude, there's something about that. So thank you. Ooh, three-legged dogs. It also reminds me of the oh, what is okay, before we go, I gotta no, I don't know how to. What is the name of that dog? It starts with a C, I think. It's the it's a Hades dog, the dog that is in the underworld. What is the name of that dog? Because it has three heads, is what made me think of it. It also is really interesting because the Greek translation, if you take the word, the what the word is, I mean, the dog's name, and translate it to English, you'll actually find that he named his dog Spot. Isn't that funny? I think that's really cute. Um, yeah, just good to see you. Thank you. Bye to you all to Enter the Void. Thank you so much. Thank you for this awesome connection, all of you. You're amazing. Um, abundance of love and gratitude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. This has been so much fun connecting. Just got here. Oh, Susan, I'm sorry. We're getting ready to go. It's so good to see you, Susan. I hope you got a chance to chat a little bit. I'm just kind of wrapping it up, but I'm just kind of want to, I keep staying here anyway. Quiet Archer, Alien Cod ones, the Salmon, Introspection and Wisdom. Art ones is us, Artemis. Art ones is us, Artemis. I like that. Trick lines. Ooh. And then you got the Lyra, right? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Serbius. Serbius means spotted one, if I'm not mistaken. Or anyway, the way that it's translated to is spot. It's just so fun, isn't it? I just think it's really cute. Three legs, incomplete compass. Disconnect, lamed. Yeah, we're also finding that there's like a spinning of the compass kind of visuals. We're getting a lot of code about the spinning of the compass. And remember that if you go back a couple of 100 years, not very far really, when it comes to the length of the time that we've had reliable cartographers, or what we call reliable cartographers, is that we'll see these earlier maps until just a couple of 100 years ago. Up was east, and they spun the map just slightly to disorient. Now we can't see what the map shows us, as we could before. Feels like we are all becoming the third energy. As we merge all of our aspects, we rise. Andrea. In fact, Andrea, I've been getting this too, is that we're actually three orbs of light, and light contains more, or requires more space. It takes up more space than physical. And we are the three orbs. We're 1, 2, 3, or three. 1, 2, 3. We're together. But like Vesica Pisces, where they cross over like that. That's what we're meant to be, and that we're returning to. They've been telling us that for years. And so that's part of why the 2/3 will leave. Like the Vedic text will say that 1/3 is real. 1/3 of man is real, is what they say. And we talk about great to at least touch base. And that's actually kind of why I'm sticking around a little bit longer, Susan, just give you a chance to connect with everybody, because it's really important for us to connect with one another, and if you don't get a chance to do it live, we also have groups, and stuff like that, like we've talked about. But Telegram group is linked in the description of this video. If you ever want to join, it's free. Yeah. And so it's just really exciting time to be here. Dalmatian spot, right? It's the spotted one, right? We are plasma. We totally are. Thank you, Mila, sending love and light. Thank you to you too. We are spots. When it spins faster, you only end up seeing one as it goes faster. Right. So grateful to catch you live. Everything is perfect. Aho. Spinning fish. Holy buckets Holy bucket of snakes, Mila. Yeah, yeah, right. The spin ones, and you're spin being. So I mean, that brings in a whole nother code there. Man, there's so much coming in. It's funny. Divine union is really able to come into play, right? And the word play is really significant here. You know, remembering to play while you're doing whatever it is you're doing makes the moment better, easier. You know, spin cod. Yeah, it's like, that game, Spin the Bottle. I never actually played that game. That was, uh, I've seen a lot of examples of those types of things, but it's just like you see the spinning 4, 3, 2, 1, spinning faster and faster, right? It's funny how many times we've seen those types of synchronicities. Thank you all. Love, Mila. Love to you, Hugo. Yeah, I should wrap it up. I'm having fun. But I do got to get going. I have mommy duties and things like that. The others have no inner voice. That's a biggie, Borgie. And letting that voice come through someone else is okay. So the speaker of the underdog, and inside you noticing, do you notice? I'm sure you do, that there's part of you that's now allowing yourself to speak up for yourself in a way maybe you hadn't before. Be at least testing the waters of setting your boundaries, of speaking up and saying when something isn't okay. I'm finding this to be fun to talk about more lately. So I think that it's because so many of us are having it. I'm having this really scratchy spot right at the same place I was telling you guys about, right at the base of my skull. Anyway, is the allowing yourself to set your boundaries. You discover that there are so many people who were offending you that wouldn't have if they knew that that was offensive at all. They didn't know those were your toes. So a lot of times they're caught off guard. They almost feel like they have, like annoyance when you finally do, because they're like, why didn't you tell me? you know it's because we set a precedence by not setting those boundaries previously. And so it actually helps everyone in the story to allow yourself to set those boundaries, so they know where your toes are at and they won't step on them. And the self-advocacy, the speaking your truth is part of that is speaking your boundaries, saying what's not okay. We're not, writing exhausting, inexhaustible list to Santa. We're saying that's my toes, dude. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be bad. It just is. Yeah. Stop, play, do dishes now. Ooh. Yeah, I did the dishes. I'm really proud of it. I gotta put them away though. They're drying. Well, I love all of you. I got to get going. Love you so much. Thank you for being here, all of you. And yeah, we're in an incredible energy window again. We do have the Huntress moon, Artemis's moon. It's a super moon this year. And so we're going to find that, yes, playing makes things so much. You retain the knowledge of it, and it just works better. It's stronger when you're in love. My dishes too. Poop. No. Play forever. Yeah. I love all of you. I'll sending you all love, and I will see you on Sunday for the normal live Q&A. This was just a random. Let's jump on because there is a lot happening right now. So I love you, and you got this. You're not alone. Yeah, it's an awesome synchronicity. Aho, blessings.